Jay, what do you know about the dog man, bro?
The dog man. I would say like I don't know why we call it dog man. Why not just say werewolf?
Well, there's a difference.
Difference. Okay, so
There's a
there we go.
difference
I
here.
was going to ask, what's the difference?
There's a difference, and I want and before I, and we'll
Yeah,
go into the difference. And I got to give thanks to our friends over at the Cryptid Women's Society, Juliet and Lisa, because they did a show about this 2 weeks ago, and I actually learned the difference. But we'll get into that. So
sure.
tonight's episode, we're going to talk about a dog man story. Before we go into this dog man story, I got to put a disclaimer on this, an asterisk. I'm not going to use this person's real name. All right. This person is on the couple videos on YouTube that went out. I actually have recently reached out to his wife, so I know that was probably a little shocking or random. So if you happen to watch this video, ma'am, we're legit. I would like to speak to you offline. Me and this cat, wherever you're at, we'll get on the plane or we'll drive down there and we would like to talk about this story that I'm about to tell in person. And I promise you, I'm a vet. He's a vet. Veterans, we're not like veterinarians, but we're military vets for all you soy boys out there. And
Fairly trustworthy individuals.
yeah, I'll promise you, we will treat this with respect. And I promise you that
Yeah,
we
we
will
just
treat with respect.
in the interest of just hearing
Right.
your words and what you have to say about it, and not like something filtered through anyone else,
Yeah.
right?
Hey, look, and I saw a couple videos. I know you're into guns. I'm in this dude, so are we. We'll talk over the range if you want. No problem, right? No stranger
That'd
to
be
that, right?
awesome.
So because of the sensitivity of that, and because I reached out, and because I'm waiting for a response, hopefully to get a response back, I'm not going to use his real name, and I'm not going to put his picture up here. I'm going to respect their privacy. You can go on YouTube and type in the details of this story, and it'll pop up on its own. They probably have permission to do it. I'm not going to do it. But for this story's purposes right now, I'm going to refer to him as Billy, because he reminds. After you hear this story, Billy the Kid. You'll get it when this story, man. Billy the Kid, right here. Good shot. Hey man, nice shot, dude. For real. So you ready, Jay?
Yeah,
You ready to get into it?
let's get into it.
Boom, we're getting into it.
All right.
All right, here's the story, and I'm gonna tell you how we got to this story, and I'm gonna tell you that this story is so good, Billy. If you're watching this, you literally should go on like the History Channel and sit down and talk to one of the pros, man. This story is amazing. I'm talking amazing. And I 100% believe you. Jay, I 100% believe this story. And I'm going to tell you why I believe this story as we go. But before we go into
Okay.
that, I'm going to tell you how I came about this story. I was on X and I was just doing some scrolling and I was reading, just looking for some inspiration.
You got it. The phrasing of that hit me wrong, man. You were
Come on, man.
the renaming is
I was
messing
on
with me,
Twitter,
dude.
not X.
I was like, wait a minute, where is this story going? Hold on
No,
a second.
just say no,
Anyway,
kids.
you were on Twitter.
Just
I
say
mean,
no,
X,
kids.
whatever they want to call it today.
Just say no, kids. I was on Twitter, man, and I was doing some reading, and I came
Uh-huh.
across this guy, and they were having a conversation. And these guys were having a very heated conversation. One guy was talking about, I like the series Missing 411, right? It's on YouTube.
Okay.
Great series. They're having a talk about this. And they were both in agreement that weird stuff happens in national forests. One guy was saying it can all be explained. The other guy was saying, like, no, there are things in that woods, and I agree with him, that should not be messed with. And he was saying, and the conversation led down to an alley where it was like, in fact, do you know that the U.S. government or private commercial enterprises are breeding things and letting them loose in these national parks to serve two purposes? One, to test them, and two, U.S. Special Forces are training how to kill them and track them. And I was like, hold on now. So you're drifting a little bit into my lane.
Breeding Sasquatch in captivity. They're letting them loose in the national forests for the special forces to hunt.
That's what he said. And I was like, okay.
Okay.
And I was like, all right.
Okay.
And so, yeah, I had the same thing.
Okay.
Here's the epitome of F around and find out. The other guy laughed at it, right?
Uh-huh.
This dude came back and he was like, look at this story, bam. Look at this story, bam. Look at this story, bam. He laid out 3 stories, right? And I was like, I'll look at one of those stories. I grabbed the first one I came into, and holy fadookery, boy. This is a story, bro. And I had to
Is this the
say, man,
one?
it's a story, man. And I'm telling you, and I'm about to get into it. So get your popcorn, people, and all you people in the comments, man. Get ready to come down to this. I actually, in preparation of this, man, I made 2 short videos, put them
I had
up.
all my popcorn ready, but
There you go. You're such a nerd. I love it. I'm surprised you don't have like a Death Star tattooed on that thing or something like that. So
no.
I did 2 shorts and put them up. You can go to our short section and look at it. Of a guy actually posted a photo of what looked like a 12-foot tall goat man that weighed about like 900 pounds, and that was like okay. And another one was this container one. Got some good heat. You can go look at that.
I saw that one, yeah.
But this guy's story right here, and I'm going to tell you when I go through this story, man, I'm going to break it down. Man, he hit some key points, man. When I was watching this guy talk, when I was watching Billy talk, I have a knack, man, I would say, of being able to, like, once you become a parent, you can sniff out bullshit pretty good. Would you agree? If you have sons that become teenagers, right? Right?
I hope so, man, because otherwise I'm screwed.
Yeah, man. No, you can sniff
Yeah,
out.
no, I feel like I got a pretty good bullshit detector most of my
Right.
life.
And
Yeah,
then
I think I.
yeah. So there's things that I now incorporate into these stories, man. And the one is the why, right? Why would you tell that story? Number one. Two,
Yeah,
what do you have to gain from that story? If you tell a story and all it brings you is shit, that story is probably true, right? So that leans it in there. Like you have nothing to gain for it. In fact, you have a lot to risk for it. In fact, it's not even helping you, right? So
Yeah.
why would you tell it?
Definitely.
So this story, man, checks a lot of boxes, bro.
Yeah, that whole personal gain thing is kind of important, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people, like the one that we covered about the barns, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was very detrimental to their careers and kind of everything that they were working toward.
Yeah. Same with Bob
Yeah,
Lazar.
people who come out with anything out of the ordinary, any extraordinary story, have a tendency to get discredited, right?
Yeah.
Unless they show up with extraordinary proof, So
Well, and so it's not safe. The guy from Boeing just unalived himself 2 days ago, right? Like I don't know. And look, I don't know why. Go
oh
watch.
yeah, no, and then that's the other thing, right? Like a whistleblower, the
Yeah.
whistleblower execution problem.
Yeah.
Make the mob style, right? Concrete
Exactly, right.
shoes. It's been a problem forever.
I think it's very disrespectful, and I think it's very dismissive to just outright LOL somebody's story, poop on it, and say, hey, that's not true. Just because if something extraordinary happens, then of course people may struggle to articulate exactly what happened because it's not something that's ever happened to anybody before. So when you sit down and you talk about it across, right? It's like, oh yeah, that's so dumb. That's so dumb. Whatever. You're off your meds. I'm like,
how do you describe something that you have no context for? Right?
None.
Like,
yeah.
Like we've talked before, past people would look at this like it's a, witchcraft, right? And you'd probably be executed for it, right? Or whatever.
It talks to demons. It's a demon box.
Yeah, it's full of demons, and you're getting burned. It's
just
most
serious.
likely.
Yeah, exactly. You're getting pegged to the stake on that.
What happened to all the time travelers, right? They went a little too far.
You went too far back, bro.
They went too far, and they got in the wrong spot. And holy cow, that farmer
Oh,
thought
it's
that
another one.
The demon popped out of something, and that pitchfork right in his back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's this like human programmed thing about the other, right? And trying to tell that and trying to articulate something that you just, in a very kind of adrenaline fueled moment, being clear and concise and like
and that's another thing. That's another thing that I'm gonna go over that he says there in his story that makes me believe him. Right in this story specifically, he says something in this story. He said this whole thing went down. When it got real, it went down in about 15 seconds. And he said something that I've heard other people in the military say before, man, is that time slowed down, right? And we've been in situations before where That's actually happened. And like I could literally hear my heart beating in my ear. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like that's how intense it was, right? And it was like slowing down. So, and then I can't even, and that was something we've been trained for. We trained for this shit. You know, and perfect example.
Well, I mean, that's the point of it, is to be in an emergency situation and be able to hold your brain together.
Perfect situation. I'm gonna say some things here, but I'm gonna say it in a way, and don't add any detail to this. But me and this guy, we were in the military, and we were trained specifically for several things. But there was one thing that would go down, that if it went down, we had an X amount of time to respond. And when I tell you that time is about that, like that, that's what you had. If you messed up, somebody was going to die and you were going to Leavenworth. They would tell you that during training. You messed this up. You know, they would. You right? Remember that?
I remember that, yeah.
Someone's going to die.
If you screw this up, you're going to prison.
And you're going to prison. Right? When that's happened, I had to deal with three or four real world live situations that went down. 3 of them went smoothly. And if it's going smoothly, that time frame feels like that. You got all the time in the world, man. Everything happens. Let that bad boy go sideways, man. And that time is like oh my god, right? And I've seen other guys during training completely freeze. Just completely freeze, right? And it's like, man.
Oh yeah, we watched them together, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, just completely like I can't believe I can't even believe I'm seeing, like, in training, like I can't even believe it. Like I've never seen a man just
cold,
lights out, man,
cold,
switch out, right? So, anyways, he during this encounter, man, he said that when 15 seconds is what it really lasted, it was the heat of it, right?
Yeah.
And he said time slowed down, man. And when he said that, dude, I was like, yo, man, this dude, like, he lived it. I mean, he lived it.
Yeah.
He said, like, because
there's you hit that emergency situation, that time dilation.
In this situation right here, I like to consider myself fairly prepped. You might have seen Big Daddy. I don't know, man. Like, so yeah, Billy. So, man, how salute this dude, man. This story is amazing. So let me get into it. I know I'm keeping everybody waiting.
Okay.
All right. Loose time frame, son. Loose time frame. 2018, June to be specific. That's the date and time. 6 years ago from now. Location: Manistee National Forest, Michigan. Never been there. After this story, might not ever go there. Did a little bit of research on the place, man. 1 million acres. This place is massive, right? 1 million acre national forest. The national forest is so big that it's almost impossible to traverse other areas without sometime having to go through this. That's what Billy had to do. His profession is a truck driver, and not an F-150. I'm talking about hauling them bad boys and big boys, right?
Yeah.
So Billy had a job to do. Billy was hauling paper of some sort, about 45,000 pounds of it, if I'm being, stuck in my details here. He was in a specific type of truck called a day cab. And I didn't know this, but a day cab they don't have the things in the back. And Billy had every intention of going home, right? He was making this, He was making this run. He was going home.
And that was it.
That was it, man. He's driving his way through Manistee National Forest. By the way, Billy is a 59-year-old Army vet, by the way, right? And I hate to tell you, people, on this, I'm a little biased. When I hear another veteran talking, I give him an extra little thing there because, for reasons why, I just do, but makes him a little bit more trustworthy, even though I know some pretty crappy vets. But anyways, it doesn't matter. but so do you.
We usually give them the benefit of the doubt, at least.
Exactly, right? I'll actually listen to their story, right? 59-year-old Army vet in a day cab, pulling 45,000 pounds of whatever of paper through the Manistee National Forest, goes through some type of, I don't know much about these type of trucks. There was an air function, something happened. I'm sorry, an air system malfunction, right? I think the air probably was with the brakes. I'm pretty sure.
If I remember, it's air brakes, but
yeah.
I'm not a mechanic.
And I'm thinking like that's if it's air brakes, 45,000 pound big truck, it's fairly important.
You want
right?
to check.
Better check that, right?
Yeah, you want to check. Definitely.
So Billy, being the pro that he is, gets out, takes a look at it, identifies where it's going on, has the equipment on site, says, you know what, it take me 5 minutes to make this, but I guess truckers have a version of, roadside assistance they could call. He says, no need for that. It'll take him hours to get here. He's in
He's in the middle of nowhere.
Manistee National Forest, right? Gets out. All right, so here's the second reason why I believe this guy, right? And I got several reasons here. Second reason, it wasn't pitch black out. This ain't 2 o'clock in the morning, Jay. This ain't freaking, 5 a.m., 4 a.m.
Right.
It is
like
7. It's between 7 and 8 p.m. It is daylight, son, in June. Sun don't go down till 9, right? What's that?
No, you're right.
Yeah, so sun's up, right? So he's down in there. He's in my mind's eye, he's just in the middle of the truck fixing the air brakes, however you do it. And he says that he's noticing some shadowing. Now, I've been in the woods a lot. You've been in the woods a lot. Anybody that's been in the woods a lot, when a big animal
when the shadows start moving,
yeah, exactly,
you need
man.
to look around.
Yeah, so when someone's moving, wrestling, the light will alert you, and you can tell, right? So I instantly knew especially if you're hunting, right, like or doing whatever. So he says he's starting to notice some shadowing, and this shadowing to him, he says, was fairly large to the point where he actually thought it might be a bear, right? Mm-hmm. So I was like, okay. So he's like, all right, and then he also here's the third reason why I believe him, because the terminology that he used, saying shadowing, makes me believe him. But he also says he says the next thing. He says, I start to get an uneasy feeling, right? And this guy is a hunter. He's no stranger to the woods, right? He's been on hunting trips before. And I've been in the woods before, walking in the woods, and 3 miles, 4 miles, and I'll go through a certain patch of the forest, and it gives me the creeps, right? And so you know what I'm talking about, Georgia boy, right? So you just go through certain parts of the forest, and it just gives you the creeps, right? So
yeah,
he says he's sitting there, working out, getting his stuff together, starts getting the creeps, and on top of the shadowing, he's thinking it's a bear, and that's the last place you want to be. Is I don't know if they have grizzlies up there, but a big ass black bear, having to deal with that or whatever.
Doesn't matter. It's a giant wild animal.
Exactly right.
Time to go.
Yeah, exactly. It's time to go. So it took him about 5 minutes to make this repair. He gets into his truck, tests it, does the testing it has to do. Everything seems good. Puts it in gear, Jay, and takes off. Now, he's not driving a Toyota Supra, right? Like, this is a truck with a load on it. And then,
Right. It's a rig.
It's a rig. And you got to pull it, right? So he starts to get moving, and he's going. Looks out his window, and he sees it. I'm sorry, he looks out his side view mirror to his passengers. From the story I got, it was on the passenger side, right? So he's driving, looks to his right, sees it, and he sees it, and it's coming. And that's when he was like, okay, that's not a bear, right? And so he gets on the gas a little bit, trying to get away from it. And he says that he got up to about 25 miles per hour, and it was on him. And this is where it gets...
So it was gaining.
It had him. And wait till you hear this, right?
It was already up there.
It was on it, right?
Okay.
He said he's checked his mirror again. It's closed the distance. Looks one more time, and the damn thing's head is in the window. And he said that it was looking down. And so he estimated that his rig was 9 feet tall, that this thing had to have been at least 10.5 feet tall. And his head was the size of the steering wheel. Yeah, so to the side. Imagine something coming from the side and looking through, right? He saw its head. His head was the size of a grizzly bear, which is massive, which is about 2 times the size of a steering. Took up the whole damn window, right? So basically. Okay. And here is the fourth thing that he says that makes me believe his story. That makes it believable, right? That's when he says time slowed down. And he in stressful situations, people focus on odd details, right? Just like odd details, right?
Things imprint in your brain,
right,
during that kind of stressful situation.
And he
weird
said weird things, right? So he said that he said this thing had a mane on it like a lion. From the forehead back, it had a jet black lion's mane, right? That's when I watched this thing, that was one of the first things he talked about. It wasn't that, oh shit, there's a daggone werewolf trying to get in my cab. It was, this thing had a lion's mane on it, right? And then he goes into the detail to talk about it. He said it was jet black, very white teeth, super white teeth, yellow eyes with black irises, black pupils, I guess, and hands like a human. But the hands were the size of the steering wheel, right? His hands were massive. Hands like a human with about 3-inch claws coming off of them. And it had teeth that looked about 3 inches as well. It didn't really go into any detail. The thing wasn't like a ravaging beast either. And here's the fifth thing that makes me believe his story. It wasn't like this was a pit bull foaming at the mouth to get into it. He said when he looked into its eyes, Jay, there was a high level of intelligence looking back at him. Like there was there was
a glimmer there.
Yeah.
Like not when you're looking at a deer.
No, exactly. It ain't blank. You know what I'm saying?
Something like that. You know what I mean? Where you can tell it's sort of there,
yeah,
but it ain't really there.
And you know the word
human, you're like,
yeah,
that person knows what's going on.
So you know the word I use to describe that is there was purpose there. There was purpose. This wasn't like this wasn't an alligator just waiting.
Right, like this wasn't an attack. This was
to do his
purposeful,
he was born. Yeah, he was born to ambush predator. There was purpose in this creature's eyes, right? And holy shit, man, my heart's pounding right now, dude. I'm not even gonna lie right now, man. I swear, bro, my heart is pounding right now, right? And there was purpose in this thing's eyes, right? And so this is where it gets wild, man. This is where it gets wild. So he's seeing this, right? And literally he even says, like, I can't even, like, it kind of like it frozen to the point where he didn't even think to roll the window up, right? Like I'm just like, holy shit. Yeah. There is
there's something in the window. That's not. I'm not gonna roll it. Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah. You don't think of that sort of stuff.
No.
Some of the things, yeah. No.
Like, and I gotta say to myself, like, how would I react on that? Like, what? How am I gonna react on that? Like, what the F? What is that, right? And so
I can tell you how. If you don't mind taking a quick little trip, when I was a kid, not a kid, when I was 16, I was driving home from a late night out with a couple of friends, and I pulled up to the stop sign right by my house, and we lived not too far from a golf course,
right?
A townhouse, not too far from a golf course, and I pulled up. I was driving a '72 Malibu. I pulled up to the stop sign, and dude, all of a sudden I hear kabam, and I see this face in my windshield right here. And all I remember is that its tongue was hanging out of the side of its mouth. The deer hit me, man. I was 100% stopped. And this thing came barreling out of the golf course and across the road, like down the hill into the road, and went ba-blam right into the side of that Chevelle. And its face smacked my windshield and its tongue. And I remember, that's all I remember about the whole thing, was just seeing this face with this tongue hanging out of the side of its mouth, plastered up against my windshield. So I can feel his pain, man.
Yeah.
There's weird things that you see when, like, sudden startling things happen, you know?
Damn, man. Yeah. And so, yeah, bro. And you were driving a tank. Luckily, you're driving a tank. That thing would be sitting in your lap if you were driving that tank, man. 72.
That was a big old hunk of steel, dude. It was great.
How many generations did that car get passed down? No, that chick magnet you were driving, right?
I wish I'd have kept that car, man.
Yeah, no doubt.
I was a stupid kid.
So back to this story that's making my heart pound right now. He actually said, Billy said that this was such a crazy thing to him that it affected him so hard during the moment, man. He actually thought that he had somehow slipped into a different reality, right? That's literally what he said, man. It's like, I was like, what just happened to me, right?
Huh.
And so, but you know what, boy? F around on Billy and find out. Here you go. And that's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened here, man. And this is where I got to give Billy a salute.
Here's where he earns his name.
Yeah, I believe. So Billy said that this thing was looking at him, and like I said, this was all happening within a 15-second window, man. Time was slowing down, but the thing somehow imprinted into his mind, you ain't going nowhere. I got you. Something like that, man. It wasn't a word. It wasn't words spoken. There was nothing telepathic going on. I know we got some critics, man, but like
it just gave him
that impression, like
you're not getting away vibe.
You're mine. Basically, you're mine, right? And that snapped Billy out of it, man. And Billy's like, no, I'm sorry. Let me do this correct. And he's like, I left something key off the. And he's like, you're mine, and there's nothing you can do about it. That's what he felt in his
gotcha.
Instincts, right? And Billy was like,
you're screwed.
And Billy, exactly right. But Billy was like, oh really, right? Oh really? So Billy,
well, that's when that little switch flips, right?
And in that moment of clarity, Billy remembered that he had a cannon on his hip, right? So in my mind, right-handed dude, hand on the steering wheel, leaning away from the window. All of a sudden, whoosh, pop, pop. He double tapped this bad boy, man, right to the dome, dude. I think he was using a Colt 45, man, hand cannon.
Uh-huh.
I think that's a revolver series too, man. So Billy, if you're watching this, 2 rounds with a revolver under a second and a half, man. Bravo, son. Bravo, right. Bravo, man. Bravo. So Mr. Wolfman, effed around and found out that Billy could shoot because he put 2 in his eye socket, right? Pop, pop. Laid him right hit him in the brain, right? And he said, and this is another thing too that makes me believe that he was telling the truth, is because he didn't stop, but he kept looking out his mirror. He kept looking out his window, and he subconscious was kicking in. He kept the truck on the road the whole time, didn't go off into the woods. But he said he saw the thing hit the deck, and it could roll back, and he could tell by his hunting experience that it was a brain hit, man, and that all functions.
That thing wasn't getting up.
Shut down, man. Boom, right? Boom. So a couple things. One, nice shot, bro. And any of you guys have never shot before, the recoil on a 45 will dislocate your wrist if you're not careful, right? And he squeezed off 2 rounds that fast. Headshots, man. And I was like, yo, Billy, good shot, man. Right? Saved your life, right?
Mm-hmm.
And chalk one up for the hominids, or what do we, Jay? What the Anunnaki call this? The Homo sapiens. Yeah, Homo sapiens, man. Chalk one up for the home team, right? Fell down. So now, man, I can only imagine, man, this dude's heart must have been boom, boom. Must have just been pounding, absolutely. Right? So he kept driving. But as he got up the street a little bit, there was a snowplow turnaround up in here, right? So Billy was like, and I got to give him more credit here, man. He's like, I'm going to go back and make sure that thing is dead. I just have to go back, right? Turns that big bad boy around, turns that truck around, starts heading down the road, right? Gets down there to where he just knows this is where I dropped it, right? This is where I shot it, right? He gets down there, Jay, and here comes another thing that lends credibility for me. There was a white Jeep pulled over to the side, and there was a couple standing on the outside of the Jeep. So he found it odd. So he stops, and he plays it off along the lines of, hey, are you guys all right? You guys need any help? And they were like, a little bit of pause in there or whatnot. But he could tell that they were lying, right? And they said, here's the lie, right? And I agree, right? They told him, oh no, we just stopped. We saw 2 bears fighting and we wanted to get a closer look. Ain't nobody on the planet ever saw 2 bears fighting. Let's get closer to that. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody, right? So you?
I don't know about that.
No shot.
If I saw 2 bears fighting, I might actually actually stop and watch.
You gonna get out of the truck though?
Am I going to get? No,
Yeah.
no.
I'm not getting out, right? Like, I might stop.
Well, I mean, unless I need a closer look and they're
no.
really occupied fighting each other.
Bro, I saw two kids fighting at Kmart when I was 12. I just walked out the door, man. I've got no interest in fights, dude, right? So, especially not my own. So as he talks to him, bro, he could tell that he got the feeling that they saw something, but they didn't want to say, hey, look, I just saw a damn dead dog man here. And they came up with the bear story. But he's like, what did you guys see? And he's like, well, we saw these two bears fighting and the other one drugged the other one off. So in his mind,
the one drugged the other one off, right?
So in his mind, and he could tell in the brush. I mean, this thing is 10.5 feet tall, man, probably north of 1,000 pounds, right? Damn. And so he could tell that something had drug it. The body wasn't there. He could tell that something drug it off into the woods. And if you want to talk to me, probably one of its pack mates drug it off into the woods to pull it out of the way or whatever. So he doesn't say anything, just tells him to be careful, man, and goes on his way, goes around, turns around, gets the hell out of there, right? And so that's part one of this story. Now, if I told you there was a part two, would you believe me?
I mean, I know there is. So
best believe there's a part two, dog. There's always a part two, man. So
okay. So before we get into part two,
right?
He stopped. He sees this couple outside of a white Jeep.
White Jeep.
They say two bears are fighting.
Two bears.
That's why they stopped.
That's why they stopped.
Now, they're in the middle of the forest.
100%.
Driving down the road.
Yes.
At 50, 60 miles an hour.
Correct.
I don't know about you, but when you're going through that kind of stretch of a highway like that, you're going probably about 70. Right?
It's possible. I don't know the roads.
Anything, dude. No, but still, like, if it's a highway that is a major kind of route through that forest, and he's driving a big rig through it, it's not a small road.
Yeah, at least two. Yeah, for sure. Maybe 2 lanes.
So you're going pretty fast in a Jeep. You're not going to see anything.
You've had a couple of Jeeps. You've had a couple of Jeeps, right?
Yeah, I've had a couple Jeeps. I've had Wranglers and Cherokees. No.
And a RAV4. Don't lie about your RAV4, man.
Oh, that was my wife's one. So like stopping. I'm on a sightseeing tour. I'm gonna stop and look at bears fighting. I mean, I feel like it's fishy. Like the whole context, the whole premise is a little fishy.
It rang me fishy too, man. To the point I actually thought when I first the glance on this story, man, before his take on it, I thought they were probably this creature's handlers. That's where I don't know why my mind went right there, man. That they were some type of handlers or something. But he says he didn't get that vibe. They just saw something and stopped. Damn, man. Whew. So yeah.
Right. So then they give him this phony story and he goes home. Right.
Goes home. He leaves. Gets out of there. So he goes home. This is where part 2 picks up, man. And so here's another reason why too, where I believe in. It affected his life, man. And he went home, man. Dreams. He had PTSD, man.
He got right, exactly. He got attacked by something. Regardless of what it was, had to shoot it. Even if it was a bear or a giant elk or whatever it was, he still had a traumatic experience.
Exactly. Something happened, man. It gave him PTSD, man. And PTSD is real. It is real. And so people that are dealing with... So he didn't say anything. He bottled it up. Whatever. Didn't do nothing. Didn't really talk about it for a while. And he kept it for like... I'm sorry, Billy, if I get this wrong. I want to say he kept it quiet for like 2 years, right? I think he kept it quiet, right? And he had a good support system around him, wife, friends, and they're like, "Hey, look, man, you got to get this story out." And so he's like, "Just talk about it, get it out." So he does. He gets it out there and he puts it out. And here's where the fiduciary comes in, right? And that's a word that's going on a T-shirt, y'all. Fiduciary. Here's where the fiduciary comes in. Tells his story, and of course, the MIBs show up and try to make it seem like he did something wrong. So he's on a job somewhere, and I guess they have the weigh stations. I think it's whatever you pull over, you get weighed or whatnot.
Yeah, there's the weigh station, like when you're driving on the highway and you'll see weigh station 2 miles ahead, and they have that little pull off, and it's the big kind of. Sometimes it's a building, sometimes it's just a little hut.
Right. Yeah.
And they make sure you're not overload, so you don't wreck and kill somebody.
Right. So he pulls in there. He talks to a state cop. State cop takes his ID and does his thing, and he comes back. He's like, "Hey, look, son, you ain't going nowhere. A couple people want to talk to you." And he was like, "Okay." And some federals are on the way, and he's like, "Okay." And at the time, I don't know if he stated it right. This probably didn't come into mind that they wanted, this probably the reason why it didn't come to mind.
Mm-hmm.
They show up, suit and tied up, and they try to go, bad cop, worst cop on him, and they get up there and they want to talk to him. And so they go up there and they're like, "Hey, look,
Stop a minute.
I crack you up? Nice shirt."
No, I choked on the fuck. You gotta edit that out.
No, man, that's staying in, dog. I want everybody to see that.
We're gonna keep it off.
I'm keeping it all in there, man. You're the Fed. You're a Fed, aren't you? You're a Fed, aren't you? So anyways,
it's good.
So anyways, they show up to him. They brace Billy. They're saying, "Hey, look, man, you need to shut your mouth about." And he's like, "About what?" He's like, "Hey, look." This is what they tell him. I don't know how the exact conversation went. I'll just give you the high level overview. They tell Billy, "You killed one of our assets." Is literally the words that he says they use. "You killed one of our assets, and you need to stop talking about it. You don't need to, or we're gonna hurt you." And not like maybe physically, but we're gonna hurt you. They take his cell phone, right? And they also confiscate a gun out of his truck, and it was a mini M14. I don't know if you've ever seen one of those before. And he said it was loaded with 300 blackout rounds, right? Is what was the loadout in it, right? They took it.
Mm-hmm.
They took his cell phone. They took his gun. They eventually gave his cell phone back to him, but he was like, "What? Well, when do I get my gun back?" And they were like, "Hey, look, we'll let you know when or if you ever get this gun back, right? We'll call you. We'll let you know to come and get it," which is absolute bullshit, by the way, that they could do that.
Mm-hmm.
So they take his gun. And then on top of that...
They didn't say why.
They didn't say why. They just took his gun.
Aside from you killed our asset.
Aside from you killed our asset, right? Which I'm like, okay. And so that lends credibility to the story as well, because Billy just wrote one hell of a X-Files episode. If he happened to make this up, this is one hell of an X-Files episode, Billy. You could probably make a lot of money out, which I don't think you made it up. I actually do 100% believe you. And they actually froze his bank account for a day or two. Just let him know that we could freeze your bank account for a day or two, right? And to this day, he's never got that gun back. And he went quiet for a few years, like 2 or 3 more years. He didn't say much. And then he's like, "You know what, man, forget this." It came back out again, and these stories going out. That's where we picked it up, and that's why we're putting it out. And it's an amazing story. And fun fact, the mini M14 they took, that wasn't the weapon he used to drop this Dogman with. He actually still has it, and he calls it, pretty funny, he calls it Wolfsbane.
Mm-hmm.
Cool name. Put that on the handle, Billy.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Cool name. So that was the story that they came. That is the story, and that's where I would like, if he watches this by chance, hit us up. The email's in the about section of the page, and I would love to sit down and talk to you.
Yeah.
Damn, bro.
Unfiltered view of what happened from your mouth.
Yeah, and I believe you. I do believe you.
Yeah.
But man, dude, what a story, bro.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot to take in, right?
What a story. And it was also, to be specific, it was the Department of Homeland Security is what, from what I read, is what stopped him to do it. And I'm thinking, like, how do they have jurisdiction over that? Like, isn't that the airport guys?
Yeah, but I mean, it's, DHS has their fingers in all kinds of
I'm sure they do, right?
Right.
But yeah, bro, that was the story, man. And damn, that's a banger, dude. That is a banger, son.
It's interesting.
Shit, I'm shaking, dude. I'm not even gonna lie, man.
I wonder.
Right here. I feel it right here.
I wonder sometimes if the men in black aren't really the federal government.
That's a good point, man. I wonder if this was MIBs pretending to be like DHS.
Do you know what I mean?
So I'll tell you what I think.
I use that term. I use that term to classify the big 30,000 foot view MIB, the agents that show up during things like this, where someone puts out a story and it's it sounds out of the ordinary, and then all of a sudden, like, people show up out of the woodwork to kind of intimidate and threaten them. And so sometimes I feel like I wonder, knowing what I know about the federal government and how it functions, I'm wondering if it's just contracted out.
Well, so I'll tell you my two theories, and then you give me your input on that. I think
Do you know what I mean though?
no. I'll tell you what
It's
it is.
contracted out to one of the other companies, right?
No,
Like a lot of the companies we use. So one of the biggest companies that the federal government uses is Lockheed Martin, right? And it's not just for aerospace. They're in every agency.
Here's what I think the MIB is, bro. They're either one, they're just active duty Air Force, man, dressed up. That's it. And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you my reasoning. I'll tell you my reasoning on that, man. It has to do with the cars they drive, actually, right? The vehicles they show up in, right? And even he states that the vehicle looked like it was a government vehicle. It's so I think they're either active duty Air Force because they show up to be intimidating, but in a dorky way, right? There's no Delta Force guy out there with half a beard knocking on the door coming in. These guys are all thin like me. There's none of them have ever been said like these big muscular dudes showed up. They're all thin guys, clean shaven. This reminds me that these are probably active duty Air Force guys, and they're reading
ex Air Force guys.
Or that's it, man. Or
who got a contract.
I don't think the MIB is an actual like a shadow group within the government. They're either active duty Air Force people, or they're just they're contracted out to some type of security firm with TSSCI clearances, man, that are ready.
Now, see, here's the thing, though. Look at it this way. Look at what we know for a fact, right? We know for facts. When you do what we used to do, and you have that level of clearance, when you get out, you get offers.
Yeah, you do.
You get all kinds of interesting offers, right? If you are ex-Navy, ex-Marine Corps, ex-Army, ex-Air Force, whatever, you have been working on different kinds of things. If anyone who is going to be working on any kind of UAP or any kind of aero activity, it's going to be either the Navy or the Air Force. Right?
Yeah.
And by and large, that stuff is going to be handled by the Air Force.
Correct.
So if you've worked on those things and you have knowledge of it already by nature of having a TSSCI clearance in the Air Force, and you get out, aren't you a prime candidate for someone like, I don't know, let's make a company name.
Just got to put the word black in it. Black Eclipse.
Black Forest.
Black Forest.
Right? Black Forest. There you go. Forest. Perfect.
Yeah. Where the trees are always dark.
We're going to lump them all together and call them Black Forest, right?
Black Forest, man.
So a company like Black Forest, right, who's in charge of like taking care of the security of the United States in certain very, very sensitive areas, right? I'm just putting forward a theory here, right? Taking what I know and being a storyteller, I usually grab as much fact as I can and then just sprinkle in about 10% of imagination, right? You take what you know, and these Air Force guys getting out, and they've already worked on some kind of fairly black ops material, and they have knowledge that UAPs, they've seen a lot of UAPs, and they really can't talk about it, but people know that they know because the people who are tracking this sort of stuff know that they've seen this footage. Right. And so Black Forest gives them a call when they get out and says, hey, you want to make $120,000 a year?
Scaring the shit out of people.
You're going to say no?
Scaring the shit out of people.
All you got to do is knock on doors and tell people to stop.
That's it.
But you probably don't start out there. You probably start out just looking at crazy UAP sites or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I feel like you're right. I feel like there's that military bearing that you get after a while and comes in handy.
Well, also too, man, like I used to, when I travel a lot, man. I play a fun game, man. I try to I look for I try to pick out the vets. I get bored. I'm looking for the veterans, right? And so like you can tell, man. Like if you've been any time in the military, and even if the person's young or old, you just can tell, like, all right, like that guy, like you like, okay, that guy, right? And I've even heard other people talk about, like, they just be in a crowded room and look across, like, oh, I could tell that dude right there is X, Y, and Z or whatever. You can, like, I don't know, there's something about it. And here's a fun fact for you guys: if you ever want to question somebody that's in the military, don't ask them what base was on. They can look that up and easy. Ask them what the name of the chow hall is, right? And that's how you know, right? Like, where did you eat? Or
Yeah, where'd you eat?
Yeah, so
What's the best place to eat right off base?
right off base, man. That's it, man. And then like, or like another one we used to do too is we would ask them, like, who was the mama san that, we used to have a mama san that we all went to get our haircuts to, right? What's her name, right? So if you were there during that time frame, you know who she is, right? Same thing too, man. When I was on Diego Garcia, there's two main barracks, barracks 13 and 14, right? Okay. And you would have thought one was the Bloods and one was the Crips. I don't know why it was, man, but if you were in barracks 14 and you were in 13, we had beef.
Well, I don't even know. It didn't even require a barracks. It was just a boat.
Yeah, because
you used to be on this ship, and it was like, if you were in that berthing over there.
Yeah, so
I don't like those guys. We don't like those guys.
When I was on Diego Garcia, man, there was a pavilion, man, right in between like the barracks, right in between barracks 13 or 14, man. There was a pavilion there, and we're on an island, man. You can do whatever you want, man. But something about it, man. That was the line, bro. that pavilion line right there. Who was in that pavilion got to keep it. So yeah, you can just tell, man. So when I hear these stories about them showing up, about them talking, this makes me feel like that they're probably Air Force guys, or probably, like you said, contractors to get out or whatever. But yeah, I mean, like, and another thing too is that the first MI, and I actually have another reasoning behind that. The very first story of Men in Black came out right around the same time the Air Force started Operation Blue Book, where I think it was Blue Book, where they were investigating things, and that's been like, all of a sudden MIB started showing up. Like, all right, so obviously there was something going on with that. But anyways,
well, I mean, yeah, if you have a secret to hide, right, and it's a big secret, the best way is to make it not a secret, but make it ridiculous.
Yeah, so that's when we were in, one of the things that I saw some training that was basically disinformation training, right? And at the time, it would be something specific like, oh, hey, look, this happened in a certain province. And you'd be like, oh, no, it didn't. So-and-so was, pick some random opposition group, put it out there. So, yeah, man. And that's why I thought the National Enquirer for the longest time was a government asset, because they would just, I don't know why, man. That's how my mind goes.
That's funny as shit.
I did. I thought the National Enquirer.
Who knows, man? In all honesty, nobody really knows.
Yeah.
Right? Like, a person could write it, and it's getting worse. And this is what's so fascinating about it, is like, even where we're doing is, it has become really easy to get a voice and a point of view out there. And that's good and bad at the same time, right? There's a lot of noise. But I totally believe that they could use, that governments would absolutely 100% use something like the National Enquirer to like discredit people and make stories.
And so, I'll tell you I actually legitimate like reasoning behind it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because what is your target audience, right? Right. So what is your target audience? Who reads the National Enquirer, right? People that are already into like gossipy shit, right? So they are prone to believe gossipy shit. So if you put the most outlandish stuff in there,
and not even just believe, but disseminate.
Exactly, right? They'll pass it out, right? So if you want to discredit something, man, that's where I would start doing it as well. But like I said, I have my mind works in weird ways. But yeah, so I thought the National Enquirer.
We're trained to be suspicious and skeptical, right? And to look at look at why and how things are happening in a bigger context.
And that's a good point you bring up too. So that's another reason why, like, I know a lot of people are like hype on AI, right? And I'm really not that hype on it, right? And I'll tell you my reasons why. Like, number one, they've made it useless. I feel they've made it useless. Like so.
All right.
So I'll tell you why.
I'm going to disagree with you on that one. But
Let me tell you why. They made it useless because they put restrictions on it, and I'm gonna tell you my exact reason, right? And here's the reason behind it. So Chat GPT, when it first came out, man, people were asking it, how do I break into banks and write me a code to hack it? And it was actually doing it. That is when it's useful. I know it's nefarious, but that is when it's useful. So now when you ask it a question, it says, oh, that question is dangerous. And then now, that I don't know if you just saw these board hires they're bringing in, these assholes from ex-Facebook employees or whatever. They've made it woke as shit. It won't even tell you a dirty joke. I mean, it's just dumb, right? It's just dumb, right? It can't even ask you anything. So, and they're worried like, oh, this thing is going to morph and take up. No, it ain't. It ain't going to do shit, right? Because you've handicapped it right off the bat. Number two, it's dangerous because what they are allowing it to do, and it's literally like, okay, make me a situation of showing my face robbing a bank on a video camera, and it can do it. Like it can render it, right? Or it can say, look, analyze this photo based on the trees in Google Maps. Where is that at? And it can find out a damn person's address by a tree. And so not only have they dumbed it down, man, and I get it, man. Don't be asking Chat GPT how to make Hadouken napalm. You don't need to know how to make napalm, man. Why do you want to know how to make napalm, right? Don't ask it that, right? Yeah. So, yeah, man. So I think it's became useless, man, to the scenario where it can be used to do harm, to make disinformation and create like posts, and you can't really tell, man, if it's fake or not. And so,
yeah, I have a really different view on it, I guess.
And it did. And before you go into that, did it discover the Higgs bosons? I don't think so. Why do we need CERN if we got AI?
That actually took a human. But it did help. It did help.
Come on, man.
See, here's the thing, and I approach it like this. It's a tool, right? Like, for instance, I can't even find it right now, but it doesn't matter. Like a cigarette lighter, right? Cigarette lighter can save your life. If you get lost on a hike and you have a cigarette lighter, you can at least build a fire, right? Predictably, not rubbing two sticks together, which takes a lot of your own energy. You can light a fire. You can also take a can of gasoline and yeet it at the building, right? And then light the trail on fire with the cigarette lighter and engulf an apartment building in flames, right? It's the intention behind it, right? The thing where that gets really complicated with artificial, like machine intelligence or artificial intelligence, is when you have a tool that is that powerful, the intention of the user behind it becomes that much more exponentially powerful too, right? We have to be careful how we proceed forward.
Hey, is this a dance party or not, Jay? Is it a party? Ain't no rules. Ain't no rules, son.
And normally,
you take
in some respects, I would agree with you. But see, you have this thing, right, where it can get out of control really quickly and turn into something that it was not intended to be.
So here's my two.
Kind of like us,
exactly.
Right. So think about that for a minute, right?
Here you go, bringing me into this, man.
Flippity flop scenario.
One National Enquirer joke and one Dogman story. Now we're on the flip side. Hey, but look, those are good points, man. But if you take the fuel out of that lighter, it's useless, right? And number two, and number two, when you bring the pastiest, goofiest gender studies dumbasses in there to control it, man, what good does that mean, right?
Here's the thing, and
can't even tell you a dirty joke.
This is how it works. Everything. It swings on a pendulum like time. We go this way where it gets way conservative, right? Where, let's take prohibition, for example, right? During the Great Depression, like, I guess when did the freaking prohibition happen? In like 1919 or something? Like, I don't know. Doesn't matter. We did prohibition of alcohol. I don't remember the dates right now. It's not coming to me. And the pendulum swung that way. And that creates its own problems when you're too far this way, right? And then so we opened up everything, and everything was legal for a while. And then the pendulum swings this way. And then you have health issues, and you have mental health problems with people drinking too much and falling into alcoholism and things like that, right? And there are evils that come along with the liberal side too, right? Where there are some human beings who just don't have self-control. They don't have it, right? For whatever reason, whether it be their fault or not, they don't. So it swings both ways, and that's just how humanity goes. And right now, we're swinging this way, and there's chaos.
Chaos.
Right? Because as we move on,
we're coming out of chaos, though.
Forward, it swings faster and faster, though.
All we need. Here we go. But look, all we need to bring us together is about 10,000 dogmans storming out of the Manistee National Forest heading south.
Absolutely.
And there you go.
100%.
I mean, back on topic.
We played that scenario out, though. Have you watched the movie Watchmen?
No. That Dogman and Watchmen?
No, what I'm saying is an army of dogmen created by genetic experiments by whatever entity let loose, so that this big surge of heroic patriotism when
so check it.
The issue.
Yeah, man. As long as you can fight. If you can fight, get by my side. If you can't fight, get out of my way. You know what I'm saying, right?
But you feel me, though, right? It could be the equivalent of a false flag, right? Where you produce the emergencies that you clean up so that you look like the hero.
Oh man, order out of chaos. That's for sure. That's their motto. But you know what? Look, it ain't a podcast, dude, unless I come in with a zinger. Are you ready for a zinger?
I'm ready for it.
Billy, if you're watching this, man, are you ready for a zinger? Right? Something about Billy's story stuck in my National Enquirer brain pan up there, and it was when they referred to this thing as an asset, right? I thought to myself, like, okay, why? So we know what assets are, right? So I'm going to say, like, why? So why would you refer to an asset? So I'm going to say, okay, I believe this story. It was an asset. What's that asset for? This isn't an original theory, by the way. It's something I had read. I got to the crazy part of YouTube in a town on Twitter or whatever. I went a little, I went to too far in the rabbit hole. And this guy, man, this dude, I can't remember his name. It was Fuzzy Monkey Nuts or something like that. I forget what it is, but like whatever his handle was, he threw something out there that I was like, damn, man, that's like. He was very articulate too. He says that we're breeding these things because we have encountered things in the cave systems, which I know to be true. The cave systems run from Vermont down to Mississippi. You got about 1 million miles of cave system just on the East Coast alone, straight down the Appalachians, man. I mean,
yeah, there's.
He said that we're breeding them because we've encountered things in those cave systems that are like them, and they're smoking our troops. And so we're breeding these things to send them in them to fight. And I thought to myself, like, all right, it was 1 o'clock in the morning. It's like, phone off. I just set that off. Like, all right, man, I'm too far down the road. I'm just done with it, right? I just set it off, man. I knew I hit it. I knew I hit a hard stop right then. But then I thought to myself, like, they use the term assets, right? So if it's an asset, right, then the thing obviously had to be cared for, right? And if it was lab generated or found or whatever, had to be some type of training on it, right? Something was going on with it, right? But then it takes me to the takes me, then I follow my thoughts to a conclusion. It's like, what were you trying to do? Test this effer on Billy? Like, just test it? Well, what?
Got out of the pen?
That's messed up. Yeah.
It got out.
Did it get loose? Was it supposed to go in a cave? What was it doing? It came out of a cave? I don't know. But either way, man,
Well, here's what my question would be. How did they know to show up?
Well, so he told his story and it was getting out there and he was using these names.
No. I mean, when he went in the turnaround, the two people were there.
Yeah. So
watching the Bears fight.
Yeah. Well, you got to think that. Yeah.
Why did they show up for real though?
Well, we'll say we were saying if they were there, we'll just
they were the cleanup crew.
If we were to say that they were the cleanup crew or the handlers, right? Now,
I'm just playing it out, right?
Like, yeah, this thing's obviously low.
Playing it out in a reasonable way to try to get context, right? No, like, I am taking Billy's story as truth.
Yeah.
And walking down the road of probabilities of why do these people show up, right? If he shot an elk, if he shot a bear, if he shot a whatever, if there were two bears fighting in the woods, these people aren't going to stop.
That's right.
A man and a woman alone.
Yeah.
In a giant national forest on the road.
That's where I lead to.
Stop and watch two bears fighting? No.
And if this is a 10.5 foot dog man, probably cost millions to breed or whatever. I'm just following my thought out. It had to be low jack, right?
Absolutely.
Had
Taking
to be low
it
jack.
as truth, right?
Yeah, it had to be low jack.
If this thing does exist, it had to be expensive to make.
Has to be, right? He said this thing had biceps like a bowling ball. This thing was ripped, right? So protein diet, pigs or whatever it's eating and whatnot, right? And
those things, a 10-foot tall creature is going to eat, and especially a predator, right? Like you think we all watched The Tiger King. We all watched how much meat those tigers ate.
Yeah.
Right? Times that by like 5 at least.
And they had to have a track. I'm sure it was low jack. They knew exactly what was going on, this location.
That's what I'm trying to say, right? If it was an asset, they definitely had a way to track it.
Yeah. I'm just pissed off they tried to sick it on Billy. Lesson learned.
Well, that's the thing, right? I think Billy just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah, possible. It's possible. Yeah, possible for sure. But tell you what, you better train them dogs, leave them truckers alone, because these boys pack the heat, dog.
Right.
Right. So you better learn that.
It's expensive real quick.
Yeah. I don't know how long it takes to make these things, but.
And it's our tax dollars, maybe, possibly.
Come on, for real. 100%, man. 100%. That's the thing too. Like,
dog, man.
You think all 500 billion of that dollars went to Ukraine? They got about 3 billion of that, man. And all that crap with the other black ops or whatever. I'm sure. That's just my own. Turned into Bitcoin and came back into the U.S. into some senator's pocket, more than likely. But anyways, bro. So look, don't get me on that hype, man. Can you stay on topic, bro?
Stay with it. Sorry, my bad.
Stay on topic. Talk about a damn 10.5 foot dog man. So here's the thing, dude. Right?
So you never explained to me the difference between a dog man and a werewolf.
I got it right here. And this isn't my research.
This isn't your.
I'm giving a footnote, a credit. What when you write a essay, what you give a thing at the bottom, right? You give a reference to whoever.
Yeah, you reference.
It's going out to Lisa and Juliet from the Cryptid Women's Society. Find their Instagram. They're on the show before. They just started their YouTube channel. It's going to be amazing. But I caught an episode they did about 2 weeks ago, and I think they were talking about werewolves and dogmans, right? Now, here you go. I got some more fun facts for you here. Evidently, Michigan is a hot spot for dogmen, period. Right? Period. However,
with 1,000 acre or 1,000,000 acre forest, I would think that that's pretty.
Going back to the 1800s, there's a hot spot there, right? Dogmen sightings, reportedly, fierce creatures, not that tall, 6 feet tall, 7 feet tall. Something in retrospect to a 12-foot Yeti or something like that, 7 feet tall, right? This one's 10.5 feet tall, right? This is the biggest dogman I've ever heard of, right? Boom. So Lisa and Juliet did an episode on their live stream where they were talking about the origins of werewolves. The origins of werewolves, based on their research, sound a lot like a skinwalker ceremony that the Native Americans talk about. Like, in order to bring on the essence of a shape-shifting into a wolf, you do a bunch of horrific shit, evil stuff, make pacts, all this other stuff, and you take it on. Mm-hmm. And I'm giving you the high level things. Go watch their show. It's on their channel still. And they pointed out some historical references about these things, these werewolves, where they came in. The original ones, you didn't need silver to kill them. You could kill them just by random ways of mortality.
Kill them like a normal
like
thing.
normal. Like Arnold Schwarzenegger in Predator, which still holds up to this day. If it bleeds, we can kill it. Boom. Period.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Gotcha.
Same thing with that. Later on, it got into you need silver bullets and all this other stuff came around. Wolfsbane, all this other stuff come around. The Native Americans diverged to it. Says that only a spirit man or a medicine man could kill it. Other stuff. It basically, like we talk about, man, the baseline story branches out, right?
Right.
So those are what we could be considered modern day werewolves. You're a human during the, whatever, and then you morph into like the werewolf, right? So I've heard two accounts of these dogmen. Some people say that these dogmen are the same thing, that's the full version of like the werewolf form on it, right? But the leading theory that I'm just taking based on Billy's story is that these dogmans are 24/7 dogmen, right? 24/7 dogmans. That they're either a cryptid species in the forest or in the caves, or they're bred or released, but there is no back and forth. Werewolves can be men or the doggies, but these dogmans are there to come back and forth. And I got absolutely.
It's not a human that changes into something else.
No.
It's just that.
It's just that. It's just that. That's the dogman.
Gotcha. That's
from what I've read. And like I said, I'm new to this dogman thing too as well. And I missed that elective course.
Yeah, no, I mean, that makes sense to the description, right? Because, werewolf being.
And also here's something else that they pointed out as well. Men who turn into these werewolves and dogmen, they're not always ripped. Some of them look scraggly as like very emancipated, right? Some of them look scraggly, right? A lot of the dogman stories I hear is they are jacked, like from
they're huge, yeah.
And also too, like, so even Billy goes into a good description of they have human like thighs on them, human biceps, human hands, right? To describe them. But I've heard stories of werewolves where they just look like a tall dog. I hate to do this reference. You remember, we're going to nerd out here for a minute. Do you remember? Remember Lupin, Professor Lupin from Harry Potter? Remember his werewolf in Harry Potter?
Yeah.
It's a skinny-looking werewolf, right?
Right. Like there's a different in mythology and legend. There's different things, right? Like there's the animagus, right? In that Harry Potter thing where it was a wizard that turned into an animal,
right?
At will. Right, where a werewolf turned into a werewolf when the moon came out. That was a lycanthropy is what, like the legend, right? A lycanthrope is something that has caught a disease or caught an affliction or a curse or whatever, and that causes them to change.
You are such a nerd. You are such a nerd.
I know. I'm a huge dork.
Come on, Hufflepuff. Come on.
Embrace it. I'm good.
Me too. I got a full Ravenclaw kit in the closet, man.
Ravenclaw, absolutely. Ravenclaw all the way. Absolutely.
All the way, dog. But yeah, man, so that was a difference. Thanks, Juliet. Thanks, Lisa. Thanks, Cryptid Women's Society. Your channel's awesome. That was the difference that they came across. And so that's why when I look at what Billy smoked, I don't know Billy might have had silver tip hollow points in there, but he took 2 shots to the head and he put this thing in the dirt, man. So I
mean, I feel like if you incinerate something's brain, it's probably going to go down.
Right. It puts it down, right? And so that's the difference. That's the difference. And I've also heard some pretty good stories on Instagram where people talking about they're driving down the street and all of a sudden they see a little skinny, like 6 foot, 7 foot tall, scraggly dog creature come across. In my mind, that's the werewolf. That's the werewolf version, right? In Billy's mind, that's the dog man. I also heard a great story out of Texas about these 3 fishermen that rode up on a pack of dog men about 6 or 7 feet tall that were pretty jacked as well, right? They had red eyes though. This one had yellow. I think something with the eyes probably has to do with it too, right? Like the yellow eyes.
Well, and then there's also like variations in that, right? It depends and how it reflects too. Like a cat's eyes, depending on the color of its eyes, will reflect different colors.
Mm-hmm.
in a camera, right? Like you've seen that before, where you get that weird thing when you look at an animal and it reflects back.
Yeah. But yeah, bro.
Yeah.
So that's the thing, man. So tell me that wouldn't make tell me that that's not the most amazing damn Dogman story you ever heard in your life, right?
That's pretty crazy, man. I can't even imagine driving a big rig full of like a pretty heavy load, and then all of a sudden something is on the rig, right? On it. Mm.
Yeah, and the crazy thing too is like, I mean, like imagine like this dude's. I mean, I know people say this all the time, but like, I bet you could ask him 100 questions of what he thought would happen during the day. That ain't it. that's not gonna happen.
Absolutely.
Right? I'm gonna have to, and I've given this way too much thought, man. I've given this way too much thought. That truck saved his life, dude, and I'm gonna tell you why. Right? I'm gonna absolutely tell you why that truck saved his life. 10.5 feet tall. You meet this joker in the wild, you don't stand a chance, man. First of all, a headshot is hard on a moving target. Period. Right?
Yeah.
Something moving at speed, man, is, especially at top speed. 10.5 feet tall, this thing's stride is easily 7 feet stride. Easily, right? And so I'd hate to see what it could do full speed in a wide open field or in the woods, right? If he would have been out of that truck 20 seconds longer, he's done. If it gets a chance to get him from the back, he's done. He gets in the truck and he's going down. He's in, and thank God he's in a big rig, right? Thank God he was in there.
There's some weight there, some armor, right?
Right. You're in something there, right? So there is no back mirror for this thing to come through, right? It's too big to come through the back mirror. So it's either got to come head on, side to side. And the cab of the truck offering a level of protection where it's got to come from one of those angles. And so, and thank goodness he was packing. And when it came in from the angle it did, it framed its head perfect, right? Perfect. Right. And the thing was so big too. The thing was so big, it's just not going to come through the window, right? Like it's going to have to pull you out, right? And so that could, you know, and that could sometimes an arm's distance will save your life, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, man, God was with you, bro. God was with you, Billy, man. Jesus was with you, man. Your co-pilot, man. Good on you, man. It was not your time, brother. It was not your time, man. And so, man, I totally believe him, man. And that saved his life, man.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah. Like a big armored tank just cruising down the highway.
Exactly, right? Because you got to think, man, if you were like we'll just say if you were in a RAV4.
Honda Civic ain't gonna do that for you.
You're in a Honda Civic, man. Yeah, you ain't making it, dude. You're totally not making it.
Remember those, dude, it always comes into my mind, one of my friends long ago, do you remember those Honda CRX?
Mm-hmm.
Those little tiny
hatchbacks?
Red cars. There was always red. Always red. Yeah. That's all I can picture in my head, just that thing zipping through the forest and this dogman just picking it up and going,
smacking it out of the way, right?
Yeah, no doubt.
All right, so in closing here, Jay, I got a couple questions for you. Got a couple. Well, first of all, I'm gonna give the ancient Enigma files how to not die in the woods. Put a little catchy theme in here. Right?
There you go.
So I say this all the time. I've said this before in podcasts, but we really went on some deep dives, man. We had to get back into the woods here. So if you're watching us for the first time, and I'm telling you this right now, the most dangerous thing in the woods normally is people. 100%. 8 out of 10 times you go into the woods. And I'm not talking about, look, going down to the local park and walking the blue or white trail, that's not the woods, man. All right? So don't think it, right? Going into the woods, man, going off, especially the Appalachian Trail, whatever, all that place there. Those woods, the Manistee National Forest, the Jersey Pine Barrens or whatever, the most dangerous thing you will normally come across in the woods are people. You should always...
Sometimes yourself.
Maybe, right?
Right?
You should.
Sometimes your own worst enemy is you.
Sometimes your own imagination will get to you too, right?
Yeah.
I don't give a damn what the signs say. You always go into the wilderness with a sidearm, a weapon. And I'm not. And look, don't take your wife's 22. Don't take a 38. 9 millimeters are useless. 45 is the minimum caliber. Hollow points
Yeah.
is the thing to do, right?
I just remember the last time. I just remember the last time I went out. And the guy that I was with, he had a 357. I think it was, I swear to God, it was like a 357 Magnum. It was like a full on Dirty Harry hand cannon.
Boom.
And it was like it was amazing, dude. It was hilarious. But yeah.
So always have it. And then here's another thing too, where people, so to take this a step further.
Yeah, because like a mountain lion.
I'll believe
it's not. Oh, kitty! No, that thing is a murder machine.
The thing wants to bite you in the back of the neck and kill you, and feed you to his kids.
You dude.
And I also tell people this too, and there's a big debate going on this. I personally never travel with a round in the chamber. Don't do it. I've seen too many people bend over and shoot themselves in the thigh, shoot themselves in the in the stomach, or
and don't tuck it in the front of your pants.
Or when they try to do the quick draw McGraw. Put a line down there. Yeah, grabbing the trigger when they come out. Never keep one in the chamber, man. Especially if you're not an experienced. We're experienced, and I don't do it. Some people say,
just don't do it. Yeah, just don't do it.
And they'll try to tell you that's a dead man's gun. It's not. If you've been trained, you can rack one on the way out in plenty of time, and you'll be. And it'll also give you a split second not to shoot your kid. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah, so yeah, it'll give you enough time to think, man. So. But don't ever.
So your nephew will put one in you instead of two.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, I believe. But here's my thing. Here's another thing too, and I'm very serious about this as well. Mm-hmm. Bear mace works on people. It does, and so like you can go
Bear mace works on everything.
Yeah, so you can go into any store, Cabela's. I think what's the other one, Jay? Outdoor World, whatever.
Yeah. I think they might have it at Rural King too.
Yeah, most national parks sell it in the gift shop. Believe it or not, at least take bear mace. At least take bear.
Useful clothing have just in general sense.
Yeah, and if you're hiking on a trail and you're remote and a dude steps out with a Led Zeppelin shirt on and a pair of cutoff blue jeans and no shoes, just gas that fucker on spot. Right? Just trust me.
Just hit him.
Just hit him. There's
no
conversation. No conversation needed. Trust me.
Spurt, just to let them know you know you mean business, right?
Yeah, trust me. Just let them know, man.
Don't take no chances.
Trust me.
Don't take no chances.
There ain't nothing good from that conversation coming other than he wants to know where your campsite is at. Gas him right away.
Definitely don't follow him to the van.
And definitely don't follow him. Exactly. Can you help me jump my van? Nah, bro. No, just go your way, right?
Sorry.
And so yeah, man. So that's the thing. If you get attacked by a cryptid in the woods. It's the equivalent of winning the lottery, man. But like I do believe, like I grew up around the Appalachian Mountains. I've heard some effed up stories. I do believe in feral people. I do know that there are areas especially if you cross over from Upper East Tennessee into North Carolina, you don't
even have to go that far, sir.
These switchback roads, right? Yeah, exactly, man. Those switchback roads. Those people come down from that mountain twice a year, and they go and they load up at a Walmart or a Sam's.
And you never see them.
And you don't see them again. They don't. They grow their own food. They kill their own pigs. They're down there getting batteries, and who else knows? Knows? So I could say what they're getting, but I don't want to say.
Like some of my relatives, sir.
Yeah.
Don't pick on my people. No, I'm just kidding. No, I mean that does like. I have relatives that live up in up in the upstate New York, and they don't go out much. They have their community up there, and they have their church, and they have they do their business, and that's it. They like it up there.
I'll give you great. Here's the third pro tip. Here's the third pro tip. If you're ever in the backwoods country, car breaks down, and you come up to a driveway that has a cattle fence on it, and you can see the house, but it says no trespassing. Go to the next house. Right? Do not walk up that driveway. Right? Trust me.
Yeah. Push the car farther.
Just push it farther. Just you can do it, man. You can
keep
do
going.
it. But
all good.
Do not go down that road. All right. Trust me. It'll save your life, man.
Or stand at the end of the driveway like this.
Not even, bro. Not even, man, because the sheriff, and
The
and
sheriff will pick your body up off the
yeah,
street.
and that's his cousin's house, and it's probably the preacher's mother. Just don't even mess.
Yeah.
Just go on.
No, I know.
Just go down the other way, right? But anyways,
I lived there before I remember.
yeah, nah. So there's just things to do. There's just certain
Yeah.
things that you just don't do, and those are the things we're doing. All right, Jay, you got anything for us on this? What do you think?
I would love to speak to Billy.
Yeah.
That's all I can say.
So, Bill, yeah. So again,
I love to hear people's stories from them, right? Because they always have. There's the emotion behind it is what's important.
Yeah. Oh, for sure, right? For sure. And I watched him talk, man. I found a thing where he was talking. Man, I can't remember that guy's channel, man. I'll see if I can find it and put it down there to give him credit to where I saw him talk. And it was just Billy talking, right? He was like about 20 minutes, and he was just talking, man.
Yeah, I'd love to hear a story out of his own mouth.
On his face, man, like I just couldn't find the lie, dude. I was just could not find the lie, man. And I was just like, I'm Billy. I'm sorry you went through this, bro. I really am, man. And I was like, I just put myself in his shoes, and I was like, damn, man, that is terrifying. Like I said, I don't even know how I would react, man. Like,
I've seen some pretty crazy stuff, but never quite to that extent. And you never really know how you're going to react in a certain given situation until you're there. So,
yeah, like, yeah, man, like I don't even know. But anyway, so that's our story, 100% real. Treat it with respect in the comments.
We're sticking to it.
That's the story, and I'm sticking to it, man. So if you stuck around this long, then you're what, Jay?
Our kind of people.
You're our kind of losers. That's what I'm talking about. We can't get enough of y'all guys, man. We're at 940 subscribers. We're trying to get up to 1,000 just because we can give everybody the big FUs that said we couldn't get up to 1,000. But anyways, that's a personal dig on some people that we love. Big hearts come out to that. We're trying to get up to 1,000 subscribers. So if you stuck around as long, hit that subscribe button and forget about us. I don't care what you do to the bell.
We love you all, every single one of you.
Yeah, I give you hearts, man, especially the ones who say, look at these two losers. I take that as a compliment, son. Right? A compliment,
Me too.
Right? Just so you know, that's what my mother said 10 seconds after I was born was, look at that loser, right? 10 seconds. Look at that loser.
Ain't said nothing I ain't never heard before.
Okay, so here's the thing, man. If you stuck around this long, man, try to insult us in like an original fashion. Give me some juice, man. Like, come put some heart into it, right? Come on, put some heart into it, man.
Creativity is appreciated.
Come on, man. Are you even trying at this point? Like tinfoilers? What does that even mean? I don't even mean. Right?
Hey, man, I worked hard on my tinfoil hat. It is a symbol of pride for me.
Tell them that. Only the highest quality aluminum goes into these hats, son. Don't you think we're those average guys? That dollar store shit, that don't stop the aliens, son. Everybody knows that.
Can't pick that shit up at Dollar General.
You need the Reynolds wraps, kid. Right? Exactly right. Everybody knows that. Oh, that's 250 grade aluminum? No. 350s. Only keeps the aliens out. So anyways, all you Enigmites, hit the like button. Hit the link up top. Find us on all of our social medias. We have some good, fun conversations over there. And that's all I got. Jay, you got anything as we walk out? Oh, before I go, Jay.
Sure.
We've actually started we're looking to diversify our channel a little bit, and Uncle Jay has created an Uncle Jay's Urban Legends section that he's going to be contributing to. First video just dropped on Friday.
That's right.
If you go check it out, it's about four and a half minutes long. It's about Bloody Mary. We'd love your feedback as far as how you like the format, the content, whatever. Just leave it in the comments. No feelings will get hurt.
And any suggestions on any urban legends you want to see?
Oh yeah, true. Oh, and you just triggered another memory too. A phenomenon has started to happen. We have actually. I try to answer every comment that comes in, right? And people have started to send me some videos. And I have not turned those videos into shorts yet. In fact, some of them I haven't even looked at, but I will try to look at it. And if your video, I try to treat everybody with respect. If it's not totally unbelievable, right? I will.
If it's not a paper plate painted silver,
if it's not like
and that your cousin's running through the woods holding. then
What's
yeah,
that floating
right.
behind my head? If it's not,
Right, yeah,
what is that?
no, we can't do that, man.
Come on, man. Like, come on, man. Like, I can't. Like,
Yeah.
when I made this channel,
There's a
man.
threshold there.
Yeah, man.
Right.
There's a litmus test, man. When I made this channel, man, I knew I was going to take some heat, right? But I was like, you know what?
Absolutely.
But I did lay a few ground rules down that I was going to say to myself. One of the ground rules was, man, is like, I'm going to treat everybody's stories with respect. So whatever you send me, I'm never going to say like, yo, that's the dumb. I'm not going to say that, right? I might not use it. I might not talk about your story, but I'm not going to just poo-poo it, right? But also too, I said to myself that I'm never going to just post to post, right? I'm not just going
to throw content up there.
Yeah, I'm not going to do it, right? And so I'm just not going. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to just create something like. There's some things I see.
We got to follow the stories, right?
Yeah,
there's big stories.
Yeah, so
right?
I'm trying
to Bigfoot, and there's some real things that you can sink your teeth into, and that have at least a little bit of empirical evidence to back it up.
And so like I'm trying to say it in a polite way, right? Like so it's like it has to have a little.
Gotta have something.
Gotta have. That's the best way to say it, man. That's a good way to say it. Gotta have something, though, right? You can't. You know, a paper plate.
Again, like you can't have your cousin running through the forest in a Harry from the Henderson suit, tripping over logs and screaming and stuff. No,
so I apologize, but I will still give you a T-shirt.
And I mean,
I'll still send you a channel
entertained
T-shirt.
by those things, but
I'll still send you a channel T-shirt. And what I will do is this. I just had to compromise. I know we're running a little bit long. I just had to compromise. I promise you, I will archive the videos that don't quite meet the standards, and me and this guy will compile them and we'll play it in the middle and we'll do a video review. We'll get you on the air. Right? We'll get you on the air.
Somehow.
Promise, right? And you know what, too? I think I'll invite the girls from the Cryptid Women's Society too. We'll do like a 4-screen, put it right in the middle, and we'll make it like we'll do like
that would be fun. I would love that. That'd be true.
We'll do it right. So, and the reason why I said this one person sent me a video of he videoed the moon, and then as he was videoing the moon, he says a face appeared next to the moon. And the face looks like somebody leaning up against a screen door. So so to me, I can't use that, bro. To be fair,
we can't. When your mom shows up in the background,
looking through the thing, man. I can't use it, bro. I'm sorry, but I'll save it. And if you've stuck around this long, man, if you sent that video, post in the comments, and I swear I will send you a T-shirt. I swear I'll send you a free T-shirt. All right, I promise I will.
Yeah.
So anyways, so if you got any ideas about Uncle Jay's Urban Legends, leave a comment, email us, reach us. Like so many different ways to get a hold of us. And that's it. Jay, you got anything?
I think I'm done. I'm
all right, man. Thanks for watching. And look that story up on YouTube. We'll catch you later. We're out.
Have a good one.
Subscribe now and turn on the notifications to join us on this extraordinary journey into the unknown.